So our first startup is Adaptrack. Niraj. Niraj is an 18-year innovation leader, 18 plus years of innovation leadership. He's a serial entrepreneur in AI, healthcare, and human capital. He's one of the 30 under 30 learning leader. And he's a grad from Chicago Booth, MBA with honors, economic strategy and entrepreneurship. Niraj, welcome.
Thanks, Swami. Thanks, everybody. I'll share my screen in a second. It's so good to see a physician's view at innovation, because I can tell you, I can build anything, but I can't build it without a doc. That's very close to home. There's a very systemic thinker that a doc brings to the table, and that's why I have a co-founder in a doc. And I come from a family of physicians. It always rings home. What I'm going to walk us through is a little trajectory and a story of what we've been up to, a broader picture of why we started focusing on the physician as the persona. I come from a family of physicians, surgeons, have had our own hospital. My sister turned out to be an endocrinologist also. I decided to go the other route. It's like too much of clinical talk on the dinner table. I needed to build, I needed to play music, I needed to tinker with tech. I wanted to go the other route. But it brought back home, came around, especially with what we've seen the last couple of years after my last exit and after kind of dabbling in human capital, knowledge work, thinking, impact work, and launching a venture firm. We started to focus in a little bit more on how it impacts the physician. And today, I'm going to walk us through a couple of things. I'm going to walk us through, let's see, a quick story of why we are here, what our innovation thesis is. Uli said something really, really nice and very relevant that I think we've seen and we've learned it as makers and as engineers and as entrepreneurs. You gotta learn by doing and then pass it along and then learn again, and it's a cycle. It's a cycle of constant innovation. So all of the story that you're going to hear today and focus in on Adaptrack as one of our ventures, you're going to hear about it from the viewpoint of how we landed there, what impact it's driving, but more importantly, the fact that it's a way of thinking and anchoring yourself on a thesis that's clinician-centric. And then I'll share a little, something at the end that hopefully all the clinicians on the call can benefit from. The story of all that we're up to at Adaptrack actually starts off with SCAD. It's a venture firm that I've launched with 5 other folks that were in the healthcare space, as well as the broader systems thinking space, tech space, wanting to build digital products. As Uli said, it's digital focus. And about 4 years ago, set the intentionality to be very human-centric. There's a lot of technology that's social, that's community-based. We wanted to anchor it on an individual. In that pathway, I met my co-founder for Adaptrack and also CMF. I'll talk about Adaptrack today, but I'll give you a quick insight on what we're doing on that madness of continuing education. We wanted to put all things design, tech, impact in our portfolio with the clinician at the center. And why is that? Because they have become a blind spot in the space. Too many solutions are, a lot of great solutions are on the patient care side, and that's what it's all about. But we do need caretakers to be taken care of. And for that, we focused in on a couple of areas. One was around risk management. I'll talk about that in a second. The other one is around continuing education. The fact that you all are here today, I'm pretty sure you're learning something. You're going to think about it. When you go back home, you're going to want credit for it. So we'll figure that out. We've got something for you on that one too. I lead both these ventures, as well as I'm the managing partner, founding partner for the venture studio that we've got going. A lot of great things in. We'll hear a lot more about. I'm excited to tell the story of our first flagship idea and our first flagship product. It's Adaptrack. It's risk management focus. And why was that relevant? It's relevant because there's a lot of people spending a lot of money, time, energy to make clinicians less risky. And this comes from the medical liability space. Just to give you a little context, you're working, no doc wants to get sued. And to make sure that happens, you've got the business, the healthcare bosses, the team, the insurance, all of that focused on making sure that they are just always aware and adapting to these fast evolving clinical, administrative, and personal risks. That changed a couple of years ago when work-home lines got blurred. There's hyper-specialization in the space. Medical liability itself has become more costlier. And there's emerging risks. There's COVID that happened. There's cyber. There's burnout that's happening. There's rising costs. Telehealth comes in. Patient sleep reviews. You're going to leave something online on a social media banter that kind of takes off. Lots of stuff happening in the space that's making it really difficult to see if you can actually spend that money without giving clinicians more things to do. Our clinicians don't need one more thing to do. Our physicians don't need one more thing to do. And for that reason, we said, let's flip the idea, let's flip the model. Something I picked up at my work in Chicago and UFC at Booth was around behavioral economics. It's a field that I really, really enjoy dabbling with because it actually touches one of the most common core principles of innovation, that's behavioral change. Whether you're changing the behavior of a user or a person or helping them make better decisions, it's all a part of our life in our day-to-day. And Adaptrack was launched from that very simple mindset. We wanted to build a solution that gave his clinicians and their practice teams an easy and a very seamless way to avoid the most impactful and expensive risks. Think about it as what you get when you drive better and you get an insurance discount when you're driving better, and there's an app that tells you if you do these three things and you actually do them, that you actually get a better discount. That's what we've done in the healthcare space. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. You could do this in any other sector, but healthcare is unique, and particularly physicians are unique. If I send a technology solution or anything new to my family of docs or my co-founder, the first thing is, what is this? Like, I don't have time for this, right? You're looking at a very unique persona by design, by reason, and by structure. It is about ease of use and making it as simple as possible. It's about humanizing the component of technology and not making tech savvy. It is about translating into real business impact and making it more streamlined. It has to fit into their life. So design becomes a big part of the innovation. That's what we really anchored on. It's a mobile app. It doesn't require you to download anything. Just go anywhere and sign in, and it'll give you risk guidance. There's a component of it that is powered by our sister company, CMFI, that was launched specifically to reward credit from things that you're learning about in your day-to-day. And I'll talk about that in a second too. But the premise of the whole solution is very easy. You get easy, lightweight experience. You're able to engage with it anywhere you are. We've got a chat bot, we've got a text bot, we've got a phone line. It is a part of your day-to-day. It's supposed to be simple. Anytime you engage with it in micro moments, 30 seconds or 15 minutes or whatever it is that you have time for, generates a risk management profile, which the business can use to drive value. We have more than 4,000 physicians, insured physicians on the platform on the learning side that have used this. We've driven more than $4 million of liability savings. That's measured. We're not even talking about all the other aspects of lawsuits avoided. We'll have a lot more insights on that. And we tend to reach these individuals through the bosses that want to help them, support them, essentially allowing medical liability insurers as well as clinician networks drive value to them. There's a lot more on the horizon for us. We're looking at a lot more impact in the space. We've thought and unraveled in that cycle of innovation at the studio, much like what Uli said. It is about trying and experimenting new things that work out, and we've been seeing new patterns. We've seen clinicians learn with each other in different ways, where you don't necessarily need a risk educator to talk to a clinician. A clinician can talk to another clinician. You all are having, there's folks from the healthcare space here, there's docs, there's residents on the call here, on this meetup here. You all are talking about innovation. Uli's talking about innovation he's done while he was at Kaiser Permanente, and then moved on and launched a whole new company. He's launched a whole new company right now. There's learning happening. You guys know that you're learning. There's clinician creators. We've seen folks that do podcasts, not just the Kevin MDs, but anybody that has a perspective to share. We've seen coaches. We're even seeing leaders that are emerging out of the clinician diaspora. You're seeing the idea that a clinician can become a CEO, clinician can become a chief strategy officer. You're seeing them take on leadership roles. What does that mean? That means there's going to be a lot more room for clinician-centric innovation in that world. And at SCAD, at the venture studio that we have and what we're focused on, we've got a lot of great things coming on that front. All of it is anchored on that idea of making it by design, intentionally clinician-centric, physician-centric. CMFI is one of the tools that we've got. It's a platform that rewards credits for whatever you're doing, as long as you can prove that you're learning, like this thing. If you learned something from what I said or whatever else anybody said, reach out and I'll make sure you get credit for it. It is CME. We've got a strategy tool for clinician leaders wanting to put together thinkings and notes about what their day-to-day has been to connect the dots and help them unlock insights. Again, it's a smarter notebook. It's a notebook for a decision maker. As Uli said, decision tools are what physicians really want. We absolutely want to build solutions for that and going to focus on that. Then we've got another exciting thing coming down the pipeline called the future self, helping physicians become better versions of themselves by focusing on themselves, their care, their thoughts, their family, their life outside the practice. Remember, this is a persona that needs attention. This is a persona that has been a blind spot. We started off with an experiment saying, let's try to solve it for them. And we were able to see happy physicians, happy clinician teams using technology to solve their problems. Nothing too sharp, nothing too crazy, nothing too high tech. It's just supposed to be designed with intent, driving value for those folks at the right place, right time. So that's my quick presentation. I can dive into any sort of Q&A and additional questions. I can get into any of the ventures we have, how we landed here, what else we're doing, talk more about Adaptrack. If you need to see what it looks like, you can ping me. We can book a demo. If you want to learn more about how we're anchoring on this clinician-centric mindset and what our design principles are, how we really go about innovating for the physician, with a physician, I can share quite a bit. I can also have folks on the team, our venture side, as well as my chief medical officer, Brian. He's a doc. He lives the pain every day, and he's able to innovate. And he can tell them a lot more about what that venture studio is about to do on the healthcare side and how we landed at Adaptrack, what we're doing at CMFI from a clinician's perspective. Please reach out. And of course, like I said, this has been a conversation. This is just for me to share a little bit about a peek into what we're doing at Adaptrack, but the broader story of how we landed there didn't happen without experimentation, will never happen without learning. I know you all are learning, and if you want to get credit for it, ping me. We've got a way of getting that. We support all of the work that Innovator MD is doing and a lot more that's happening down the pipeline through that product, through CMFI. We're excited about this work. Let's connect. I'll be here to answer questions. Thank you so much. Thanks, Uli and team. You guys have been tremendous to set this platform up. When I have to come and talk to a bunch of docs about what's going on in the healthcare space, it's like talking to my dad about new ideas, and it always has to be about the why first and less about what you're going to click. So to see that you've got the space to really think about innovation and think about it in such a deliberate fashion, really appreciate it. Kudos to you for setting up a platform like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Niraj. Thank you for that presentation, and we really appreciate your partnership with Innovator MD. By the way, all of our classes are being CME-fied, so to speak. So you will get credit, CME credit for all of these. You'll get it in the mail. Well, I had a question. So let's say if a physician has an idea and they want a technologist to build it, would you be willing to receive those calls?
I always welcome that, because building is a long-term process. We tend to, the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's always easy to outsource that aspect of building, but you have to get your hands dirty and experiment short. One thing we do very heavily at Venture Studio, and it came about with a lot of works. We've worked with more than 3,000 companies through the Techstars accelerator model. That's a place where I have dabbled quite heavily. Trying is much harder, but more rewarding than outsourcing it. And so I think that's a place where we'd love to welcome that. We also do have a way of engaging with clinicians physicians that want to launch their companies and think about new ideas, to embed that initial learning cycle early on and make it part of their continuing education. So as part of the studio, we are absolutely going to think about ways to reward credit and make it about learning. Obviously, we're going to do that through your partnership and through your channel. So yeah, I mean, absolutely reach out. Always good to talk about these insights.
Okay, let's see. Daniel has a question in the chat. Can go ahead and answer that.
Let me read that out loud. Does Adaptrack deliver information in real time in the flow of a clinician's day and also nuggetized the CME info in redeemable 15 minutes? Yes, I have to even present to you, and you said exactly what we do. I love it. Absolutely. That's what we are attempting to do. We also have to respect. I believe that learning is not about knowledge, it's about attention. That's the economy you're playing in. So we definitely don't want to nudge people 15,000 times during the day because we thought something was relevant. Your phone already pings you every time, the score changes or there's a new negative news story out there. That's not what this is about. It's all about choice. It's all about attention. It's all about respecting the physician's mental space at various times of the day, letting them configure that. And then if they learn, CMFI comes in and gives them the credit. So there's a way for them to capture all of that. It's about self-directed, less about shovelware.
Thank you very much, Niraj.